Well, in terms of public reception of these ideas, there is no doubt that there's been a radical change in the last 20 years, and that the general public is more receptive to ideas that question the established model of things than was the case 20 years ago. And this is being particularly driven by young people. People from their late teens through into their early 30s are who I see predominantly in my audiences when I give public lectures now. Back in the mid-90s, I was seeing a much older profile, people in their 50s and 60s. They're still there. I'm still getting people in there, but there's a really a drive for change amongst the younger generation. And because I have the opportunity to go out and speak publicly a lot, and because I'm in front of audiences all over the world, often I see this very, very clearly, and I see how it's being driven by young people. There's a new questioning spirit in the world, and it's questioning everything. And this is a really good development for the human race.
Yeah, well, that's very interesting, and I do really see that it's starting to happen. I guess what I also see, though, is a kind of counterattack, where certain forces are trying to dilute the impact of these breakthroughs by throwing all kinds of stories and disinformation out there. So it becomes even more difficult to separate out fact from fiction. Now, how do you see that?
There's definitely a counterattack afoot, and again, I'm an old hand in this world, because I've been presenting this case for a lost civilization for a very long time, and I've seen just about every dirty trick that the establishment can throw at me and at my colleagues and friends in this field. And some of those tricks are pretty dirty, and it's a kind of ideological warfare. That ideological warfare was much more effective in the 90s than it is today. These days, when those kind of tricks are pulled on you, the public is very skeptical about the trick, not about the individual it's being pulled on, but because again, it comes down to this fact that we don't trust the experts anymore, and for good reason. So for a team of experts to stand up and say this man is wrong, that's not enough. That actually is more likely to inspire people to look into the work rather than drive them away from it, because people are thinking for themselves these days, and there was less of that in the 90s, less of it.
It's true. There's certainly been this awakening taking place.